Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, but life was still stuck in the same place? Visualizations, affirmations, clear intentions, and yet nothing really materializes. It's as if there is an invisible barrier between what you want and what actually happens. There is an explanation for this feeling, and it's not in your thoughts, but in the frequency behind them. There is a common confusion between imagining something and being in tune with it. Most people believe that thinking positively is enough to transform reality. But the truth is that thought is only a spark. The energy that sustains thought, that is what creates. You can say, I want to grow, but if inside you still lives the fear of failure, the guilt of trying, or the insecurity of not being worthy, what your vibration is emitting is the opposite of expansion. The universe does not respond to words. It responds to what vibrates with the greatest consistency. And that frequency does not come from mental effort. It comes from your state of being. The way you breathe when you wake up. The way you talk to yourself when you make a mistake. The feeling you have when you are alone in silence. All of this communicates to the universe who you really are, far beyond what you say. Vibration is a reflection of your deepest pattern, not superficial desire. And that's where many get lost. They try to convince life with words, but continue to live as if they are not worthy of what they ask for. True manifestation does not begin with thought. It begins with observation. You have to realize who you are being while you ask. Because what comes to you is not what you want, but what you can sustain without collapsing inside. That's why often something good comes along and disappears. The opportunity appears, but you back away. Love comes along, but you doubt. The chance presents itself, but you hesitate. It's not the world that takes it away. It's your frequency that repels what you can't yet accommodate. Have you ever stopped to observe how you feel when you imagine the life you say you want? When you project your biggest dreams, does your body relax or tense up? Does your heart open up or close up? Do you see yourself there naturally or with detachment? These sensations are indicators of your real vibration. They show whether what you want is already compatible with your state or if there is still misalignment. It's not about trying harder. It's about aligning more. Because when there is coherence between what you think, feel, and choose, the universe responds quickly. Doubt slows down. Clarity speeds up. And this coherence is not an abstract concept. It can be cultivated, felt, and lived every day. The reality around you acts as a vibrational reflection. It does not reflect your words, it reflects your field. And that field is defined by everything you hold regularly, not by what you want from time to time. If your dream is to have freedom, but you live clinging to thoughts of scarcity, toxic relationships, and decisions that deny your expansion, then it is not the dream that is wrong. It is the vibration that is still stuck in the old. If you want recognition, but spend your days diminishing yourself, criticizing yourself, or waiting for external approval, then the signal you are sending is still one of invisibility. Reality can only deliver what you vibrate with stability. Therefore, the path is not how do I achieve this, but rather what is still preventing me from living this now. This question changes everything. It takes you out of the waiting place and puts you at the point of creation. Creation begins in the details, and that is precisely where the new field begins to take shape. In the way you look at yourself in the mirror, in the tone you use when talking about your own dreams, in the posture you adopt when you need to take a stand, in the feeling that arises when you think about merit. These micro behaviors reveal the macro vibrational state. And it is this state that is constantly communicating with the universe. Imagine two people with the same desire. One is at peace, acts with confidence, treats themselves with respect, and is patient with the process. The other is anxious, doubts every step, sabotages themselves, and lives in fear of rejection. Both may want the same thing, but only one of them is vibrating with a compatible field. The universe does not favor anyone. It only responds accurately to each person's field. It does not distinguish between requests. It reads frequencies. Therefore, if you want to change your life, you need to change your vibrational base. And that does not require tremendous effort. It requires constant attention to small alignments. And that can start right now. Notice how your body feels right now. Is it relaxed or tense? How is your breathing? Deep or rapid? And your mind, is it calm or trying to control tomorrow? These observations are more important than any catchphrase, because the energy you're emitting right now is what is shaping your field of manifestation. Manifestation begins with a silent choice to vibrate differently. It's not about thinking positively all the time. It's about becoming compatible with what you want to experience. And compatibility is not achieved with urgency. It is built with intention, consistency, and presence. And if this content has made sense to you so far, like this video and write a word in the comments that sums up what touched you the most. Also share which country you're watching from. Your interaction helps this message reach more people at the right time, because it all starts with a decision to stop just asking and start observing who you are while you ask. Transforming reality doesn't start with big decisions. It starts with small internal movements that, when repeated with intention, rebuild the vibrational field. Most people think that manifestation depends on intense action or obsessive mentalization, but what really sustains change is how you position yourself between the lines of life. It's easy to talk about change when you're motivated. It's hard to sustain the vibration when nothing has changed yet. True creation happens when you stay true to your frequency, even in the absence of external evidence. What does this mean in practice? That you need to stop behaving like someone who is waiting and start moving like someone who is already living what they want. Not with haste, not with anxiety, but with vibrational clarity. What do you do when no one is watching? How do you treat yourself when you make a mistake? What is your emotional pattern on days when everything seems to be at a standstill? That is where your real frequency lies. Thinking differently does not transform you if you continue to react in the same way. Repeating affirmations does not change anything if your body still transmits tension. What creates reality is the sum of thought, feeling, and action directed toward the same vibration. This sum must be consistent. There is no point in declaring confidence with your lips if your behavior continues to convey fear. The universe does not respond to declared intent. It responds to the dominant signal. Therefore, transformation does not depend on how much you want something. It depends on how compatible you already are with it. Vibrational compatibility is built with small daily choices, made with presence and purpose. Below are 6 practical pillars that activate and sustain this new frequency. 1. Pay attention to your language. Every word you say is a code. Your speech reveals which pattern is active. When you say "it never works," you are reaffirming a vibrational pattern that has been repeated many times. When you say "I can't," you're transmitting a limitation to the field. Rewriting this vocabulary is not self-deception. It is reprogramming. By saying "it's in process, it's flowing, I'm open to the new," you send different messages to your energy field. It's not enough to think better. You need to speak consciously and frequently, not to please others, but to align your speech with your new vibration. 2. Install emotions as dominant states. You don't attract what you want emotionally on a one-off basis. You attract what you feel consistently. There's no point in trying to feel prosperous only when you're visualizing abundance. If the rest of the day you vibrate with worry, doubt, or scarcity, the signal you send out is unstable. The key is to train your emotional body to constantly experience the feelings of the new version. Confidence, peace, gratitude, lightness, and worthiness. This is an exercise. When you feel before you see, you allow the invisible to begin to reorganize itself. 3. Reposition your body as a reflection of the new field. The body speaks. It reveals the truth that the mind tries to hide. Slumped shoulders, heavy breathing, tired eyes. All of this communicates to the universe that there is still internal contraction. Reconfiguring your posture is one of the fastest ways to align the field. Stand up with awareness. Walk with confidence. Keep your gaze present. Breathe fluidly. These subtle gestures are extremely powerful because when the body conveys confidence, the field obeys, and reality responds with signs that confirm the new frequency. 4. Choose with congruence. Every choice you make in your day is a silent vote for the version you are activating. From what you watch to how you react to a comment, everything communicates. If you say you want abundance, but constantly say that's too expensive, you are sending out the old code. If you want freedom, but insist on maintaining relationships that imprison you, the signal is contradictory. Choices don't have to be perfect, but they need to start pointing in the direction of what you want to sustain. 5. Live the energy of the new version naturally. It's not about pretending you're already someone different. It's about aligning yourself vibrationally with the highest version of yourself. How does that version react? What does it tolerate? What behaviors does it no longer accept? What new boundaries does it set? Living in that energy is making the present gradually reflect the future you want. It is acting, thinking, and positioning yourself as if you were already in the place you dream of occupying. And this simulation, done with truth and consistency, completely changes the field. 6. Practice silence with presence. The most powerful vibration is often emitted in silence. It is when you just breathe, observe, feel, and allow. It is in this state that the field stabilizes. Sitting in silence is not wasting time. It is clearing noise. It is allowing the new field to be activated without interference. It is accepting that not everything needs to be said. Not everything needs to be understood. Sometimes it just needs to be felt. Conscious silence is a fertile space. In it, you stop controlling and start trusting. And trust is what generates vibrational speed. These 6 pillars are not formulas. They are anchors. When practiced consistently, they rebuild the energy field. And from there, everything starts to respond differently. You don't need to change the world. You just need to change what you are emitting. When the field aligns clearly, the universe does not resist. It reflects. People arrive with the right words. Doors open effortlessly. Situations that were previously stuck begin to unfold. And it's not magic. It's subtle physics. It's vibrational coherence. But this coherence requires something: uncompromising presence. You need to observe yourself more than distract yourself. You need to choose yourself more than sabotage yourself. You need to sustain your vibration, even when the outside hasn't changed yet. Because that's what changes the outside. If this content is reminding you of something you already knew but had forgotten, comment below. I choose to vibrate with awareness. And say which country you're watching from. This helps this frequency reach more people around the world. Now take a break. Take a deep breath and look at yourself honestly. How has your daily emotional pattern been? Are your actions compatible with the future you want? Are you reacting like someone who is still waiting, or like someone who is already living? These questions don't require a rush. They require sincerity, because it is your answer to them that defines what you are building or repeating. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be committed to what you vibrate. And commitment starts now. Vibration doesn't wait for a miracle to change. It changes the moment you decide not to return to your old behavior. And that decision, repeated consistently, transforms everything. What you want is already within your reach. But it only manifests itself when you become someone who can maintain it without fear, without self-sabotage, without backing down. Therefore, the focus is not on wanting more. It is on vibrating better. And vibrating better is a silent act, an internal ritual, a daily commitment. Reality then ceases to be a battlefield and becomes a clear mirror. Because now you have stopped trying to convince life, and you have started to express with clear frequency who you have truly chosen to be. You have already realized that it is not desire that creates. It is vibration that sustains desire. Manifestation does not happen because you think intensely about something. It happens when you energetically transform yourself into someone compatible with that thing. When that compatibility stabilizes, reality simply reflects it. But there is one last element that wisely completes this process: letting go of control. Surrender. The moment when, after aligning your mind, body, and emotions, you choose to let go and trust. For many, this is the hardest part. After all, how can you let go of something you want so badly? How can you not try to control every detail, every step, every movement? The mind wants security. The ego wants guarantees. But high vibration requires a different attitude: trust in the invisible. Letting go is not giving up. It's the opposite. It's the point of greatest faith. When you let go, you are energetically saying, I have already become who can receive. Now I allow. And allowing is different from waiting. Those who allow know that they are already on the path. There is no more doubt. There is readiness. Vibrational surrender is a state. It comes from understanding that you don't have to control everything for everything to happen. The universe does not require effort. It requires alignment. And alignment is only complete when tension gives way to fluidity. But how do you access this state? How do you surrender without losing focus? How can you trust even when there is no external evidence? Below are 7 fundamentals that help sustain the vibrational field of surrender. These are points that consolidate the manifestation process and release the flow of creation. 1. Break your obsession with time. You don't need to know when things will happen. In fact, the more you insist on looking at the clock, the more anxiety you generate. Time is not the problem. It is your expectations of it that hold you back. When you learn to honor the present moment as sufficient, time ceases to be the enemy. It becomes an ally, because surrender happens now, and it is in the now that the field updates itself. 2. Let go of the mental script. Your mind believes it knows the best way, but life has paths that logic cannot reach. When you let go of control over the how, you open doors you never imagined. This does not mean abandoning your goals. It means letting go of rigidity about the path. The how is not your responsibility. Your job is to vibrate with clarity. The universe takes care of the bridges. 3. Choose the state instead of the result. Instead of waiting for the result to happen to feel joy, peace, or gratitude, choose to feel all of that now. The state of surrender is sustained when you live today the feeling you associate with tomorrow. This emotional anticipation is not an illusion. It is energetic training. When you live in the present with the vibration of your desired future, it ceases to be the future. It draws closer. For cultivate lightness as your dominant frequency. Forcing is different from focusing. Focus comes from clear intention. Excessive effort comes from fear of failure. Surrender replaces tension with lightness. It does not mean inertia, but fluidity. The lighter you become, the faster the field reorganizes itself. Because lightness is a sign of trust, and trust is the language of the universe. 5. Stabilize your inner silence. When you no longer need external answers to feel at peace, the field responds with greater clarity. True surrender happens when your inner silence is no longer charged with demands, but with presence. It's not about standing still. It's about acting without anxiety. breathing with intention, waiting without weight. 6. Live in certainty even without proof. Manifestation does not need guarantees. It needs coherent vibration. Certainty is silent. It does not shout. It does not demand. It just is. When you vibrate like someone who knows, even without seeing, you move from a stable center. And it is this center that strongly attracts everything that is already compatible with your frequency. 7. Reaffirm daily, I already am. The most powerful phrase that exists is not, I want or I need. It is, I already am. Because when you vibrate like someone who has already become, the universe understands that there is nothing more to seek, only to express. And this expression, silent and continuous, reorganizes your reality with precision. You don't need a rush. You just need to stay whole at the frequency of the version that is already ready to receive. Surrender, therefore, is not a one-time act. It is a vibrational state that is built up. And this state does not depend on circumstances. It depends on your willingness to let go of control and open yourself up to the flow. When this happens, something changes in an invisible but profound way. Anxiety gives way to presence. Doubt loses its power. Urgency dissolves. You begin to notice subtle signs, unexpected encounters, creative solutions, clear intuitions, recurring synchronicities. Not because you forced it, but because you finally got out of the way. It is in this space that the universe moves more freely. It is in this vacuum of control that miracles happen. Because now, the field is no longer resisting. It is receptive, and being receptive is the greatest proof of energetic maturity. It is understanding that all you need to do is keep vibrating with integrity, even when the world has not yet confirmed anything. Now, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, am I trying to control, or am I willing to trust? Am I vibrating urgency or stability? Am I trying to secure the future, or am I living the present with intention? Honest answers to these questions show exactly where you are in the process. And don't beat yourself up for not being where you want to be yet. Just choose today to sustain a new field. Commitment begins with that choice. It is strengthened by repetition, and it is consolidated when, even in the face of the silence of reality, you continue to vibrate with confidence. This confidence is a muscle, and muscles grow with practice. Practice every day. Let go of the need for control. Breathe deeply instead of reacting. Stop running for answers. Live in the present with peace. The field begins to change when you change the way you expect. Expecting with tension blocks. Expecting with lightness manifests. If this has touched you so far, comment below with the phrase, I trust and allow. And also write which country you are watching from. Your presence helps spread this frequency of conscious surrender. Remember, you don't need more effort. You need more coherence. And coherence doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. From the moment you stop trying to make it work and start living as if it already works, everything changes. You're no longer seeking. You are emanating. And when you emanate, life responds. Manifestation, in the end, is just a mirror. It reflects what is stable within you. Not what you want, but what you hold in silence. And silence, at this point, is the most powerful cry of confidence. You didn't get here by accident, and now you know what to do. Not with force, but with awareness. Your reality is about to change. Not because you have discovered a new desire, but because you have finally decided to trust what you feel. And to trust is to allow the universe to do what only it can do. Surprise you with the exact reflection of your most authentic frequency.